Hello viewers, welcome to the course on Fundamentals of Horticulture. Today we will be discussing about establishment of orchard, selection of site and systems of planting. Establishment of an orchard is a long-term investment and deserves very careful planning. The selection of proper location and site, planting system, planting distance, choosing the varieties and the nursery plants have to be considered carefully to ensure maximum production. In this picture, you can see the early stage of a very well managed banana plantation under drip irrigation system. For selection of site, one should consider following factors before selecting a site for an orchard, and these factors are climate, labor availability, water availability, topography, soil conditions, accessibility to the area, nearness to the market, etc. Now we will discuss each factor in detail. Climate refers to the average condition of the atmosphere over a long period. For successful fruit growing, various components of climate like temperature, humidity, wind, rainfall, hail and frost should be carefully studied. Inquiries should be made on the above mentioned points to assess how climate affects the fruits intended to be grown. Soil. It serves as a base for growing of plants. The suitable soil for fruit growing should possess following properties. It should be fertile, well drained and deep, at least 2 meters. The soil underlaid with hard layer of murram or calcium carbonate do not favor growth of many plants. It should be free from waterlogging. In waterlogged soils, majority of fruit plants fail to grow due to choked aeration in root zone. The soil should preferably be neutral in reaction, that is pH 7. In alkaline, the higher concentration of sodium salts, and in acid soils, development of certain pathogens can retard the growth of fruit plants. It is always better to get the samples of surface soil and subsoil of the proposed site analyzed physically and chemically in a soil testing laboratory before starting new planting. It is essential to begin a new orchard. One should always test the soil properties. Irrigation facilities. Most of the horticulture crops are raised under irrigation, so the water facilities should be taken to consideration in terms of quantity and quality. Water samples from the available source should be analyzed in the laboratory before planting is done. Irrigation water containing total soluble salt more than 1400 ppm and boron salts higher than 1 ppm can harm the fruit plants. Irrigation water should be adequately available at a cheaper rate. If it is costly, it will greatly enhance the cost of production. Nearness to the market. It is an important aspect and should be considered in choosing a site, as it saves the overhead charges in transport and gives close touch with market taste. In most cases, a large percentage of the retail price of fruits is accounted for transport charges. For example, the hill bananas and the apples of Kullu Valley are produced cheap, but they are sold at high prices on the plains owing to heavy cost of transportation. In this picture, you can see a relaxed mango farmer. Probably he is relaxed because his farm is near to the market or he has already sold his product. Now, transport facilities. A good transport system is an integral part of commercial fruit growing. It helps in bridging the distance between the site of production and the place of consumption, thereby helps in maintaining freshness of the produce at selling point. Nowadays, use of refrigerated trucks, railway wagons and air cargo is increasing for transporting perishable fruits over long distances. In this picture, you can clearly see the air cargo transportation of fruits. Power or electricity supply. It would be a great advantage if electric power lines are running in the proximity of the area, as it can be tapped easily. Availability of labor. Large orchards are started often in out of the way places and forest areas away from populated centers. It would therefore be necessary to ensure that adequate labor is available for orchard operations. This point is of importance in plantation crops particularly. Proximity to established orchards. It is an added advantage if the site is in proximity to the already established orchards, because compactness of areas of production facilitates provision of transport and storage facilities and also enables formation of cooperative societies. In selecting a site close to other orchards, one must sure that they are free from devastating pests and diseases like citrus scale, canker, Panama disease of banana, the Tristeza disease of citrus. This picture shows the various symptoms of citrus canker disease on lime leaves, stem and fruit. Social factors. These assume importance when large contingents of labor and managerial staff are to be employed at plantations or large orchards. They should be provided with medical and educational facilities so that they are content and stick on to the jobs. Now we will be discussing about various systems of planting. The arrangement of plants in the orchard is known as layout. The following points need to be considered before choosing a system of planting. It should accommodate maximum number of plants per unit area. It should allow sufficient space for the development of each tree. It enables equal distribution of area under each tree. The intercultural operations such as plowing, spraying, etc. are easily carried out. It makes supervision more easy and effective. Description of different systems of planting. The first one is square system. In this system, a tree is planted at each corner of a square, whatever may be the planting distance. The distance between row to row and plant to plant is same. In this picture, you can clearly see a square system of planting in which the row to row and plant to plant distance is same, that is 10 meter. The advantages of system is the possibility of cultural operations in two directions is the greatest advantage of this system. It is most commonly followed, simplest of all and easy to lay out. Irrigation channels and paths can be made straight. Disadvantages: comparatively less number of trees are accommodated in given area. Distance between plant to plant and row to row remains the same. Hence, certain amount of space in the middle of 4 trees is wasted. Now, rectangular system. Similar to square system, except that the distance between plant in the row and distance between rows is not the same but different. Row to row distance is more than that from plant to plant in the row. This picture shows the rectangular system of plantation in which row to row distance is 3 meter and plant to plant distance within a row is 2 meters. Advantages: irrigation channel can be made length and breadth wise, better supervision is possible, intercropping is possible. Disadvantages: intercultivation is somewhat difficult when the trees have fully grown. A large area of the orchard between rows is wasted if intercropping is not practiced. Quincun system. This is also known as filler or diagonal system. It is similar to square system except the fifth plant is located at the center of each square, termed as filler tree. As a result, it accommodates about 1.5 to 2 times or 78 to 89% more plants than the square or rectangular system. This system should be adapted to only when the tree spacing exceeds 8 meters or fruit crop which are very slow growing in habit. The filler trees selected should usually be quick growing, early maturing, and these are removed when the main trees planted at the corner of a square come into production. Banana, papaya, falsa, pomegranate, etc. can be planted as fillers. This picture shows the quincun system, and you can clearly see the fifth plant in the center of a square. Advantages: the main advantage of this system is that the plant population is almost double than the square system. Additional income can be earned from the filler crop till the main crop comes into bearing. Maximum utilization of the land is possible. Disadvantages: the greatest disadvantage of this system is that it is difficult to carry out intercultural operations on account of the filler tree. Spacing of the main crop is reduced if the filler crop is allowed to continue after the growth of the main crop. Skill is required to lay out the orchard. Hexagonal system. This is also called as equilateral system. Sometimes a seventh tree is planted in the center of the hexagon, and then it is called septule system. In this system, the trees are planted in each corner of the equilateral triangle. This system differs from the square system, in which the distance between the rows is less than the distance between the trees in a row, but the distance from tree to tree in 6 directions remains the same. This system is usually employed where land is expensive and is very fertile with good availability of water. This picture shows the hexagonal system of plantation, and you can see a seventh plant in the center. The main advantage of hexagonal system is that it accommodates 15% more trees per area than in the square system. The main disadvantages of this system are the complex nature of its layout and possess problem in intercultivation due to greater population of trees. Now, triangular system. Triangular system is based on the principle of isolateral triangle. The distance between any two adjacent trees in a row is equal to the perpendicular distance between any two adjacent rows. However, the vertical distance between immediate two trees in the adjacent rows is equal to the product of 1.118 multiplied by distance between two trees in a row. This picture shows the triangular layout system. Merits and demerits. When compared to a square system, each tree occupies more area and hence it accommodates 9% few trees per hectare than the square system. This system is not much of practical importance. Plants are not placed at equal distance from all sides. Now let us discuss about contour system. It is generally followed on the hills where the plants are planted along the contour across the slope. It particularly suits to land with undulated topography where there is greater danger of erosion and irrigation of orchard is difficult. The main purpose of this system is to minimize land erosion and to conserve soil moisture so as to make the slope fit for growing fruits and plantation crops. The contour line is so designed and graded in such a way that the flow of water in the irrigation channel becomes slow and thus finds time to penetrate into the soil without causing erosion. Terrace system, on the other hand, refers to planting in flat strip of land formed across a sloping side of a hill lying level along the contours. Terraced fields rise in steps one above the other and help to bring more area into productive use and also to prevent soil erosion. This picture shows the layout of contour on a hilly area. You can clearly see the formation of contours across the slope. Advantages: contour system can control the soil erosion. It helps simultaneously in the conservation of water. Contours form an easy path for movements on the hill slopes for carrying out various orchard operations such as weeding, manuring, pruning, harvesting, disease and pest control. Disadvantages: laying out is difficult, time consuming and require special skill. Special instruments are required for making contour lines. The row to row distance will not be equal and adjustment may be required in the plant to plant distance. Now let us discuss about high density planting. Planting of fruit trees rather at a closer spacing than the recommended one using certain special techniques with the sole objective of obtaining maximum productivity per unit area without sacrificing quality is often referred as high density planting or HDP. This picture shows the high density planted orchard of mango. This technique was first established in apple in Europe during 60s and now majority of apple orchards in Europe, America, Australia and New Zealand are grown under this system. HDP is already a success story in fruit crops like apple, banana, pineapple, mango, etc., which is evident from the table. This table shows the traditional and high density planting spacing and gives the comparison of yield in both the system. Like in the crop mango, traditionally the plants are planted at the spacing of 10 by 10 meters. The spacing always refers first is row to row and second is plant to plant. So, in case of mango, when we say 10 multiplied by 10 meter spacing, it refers the spacing between row to row is 10 meter and spacing between plants within a row is also 10 meter. So, traditionally the 10 by 10 meter spacing is practiced in mango, whereas in high density planting 2.5 by 2.5 meter is practiced, and you can see that the traditional yield is 7.5 tons per hectare of mango, whereas in high density planting the yield obtained was 19.2 tons per hectare. Similarly, in apple 7.5 by 7.5 meter of traditional spacing. In high density planting it is used as 3 by 3 meter. The yield is 4.5 tons per hectare in case of traditional planting. In case of high density planting it is 15.2 tons per hectare. In banana the traditional spacing is 2.4 by 2.4 meter. The HDP spacing is 1.8 by 1.8 meter. The yield obtained in traditional planting of banana is 37.9 tons per hectare, and in HDP it is 52.4 tons per hectare. And in pineapple the 20,000 plants per hectare are planted in traditional systems, whereas 72,000 plants per hectare in HDP system. The yield obtained in traditional system of pineapple cultivation is 59.4 tons per hectare, whereas in HDP system it is 102.4 tons per hectare. So, we can clearly see that how high density planting has improved the yield of each fruit crop. HDP is achieved by using dwarf rootstock interstock, restoring to dwarf scion variety, following spray of growth regulators, regulating shape of plants. Advantages: higher yields as compared to other systems and early returns, easy management of orchard trees, low cost of production, enables the mechanization of fruit crop production and facilitates more efficient use of all resources. Disadvantages: overcrowding, overlapping of canopy and root system, buildup of high humidity, lack of cross ventilation in the orchard which is more conducive for pests and diseases, reduction in yield in the long run after 10 to 12 years of age. So, even though there are few disadvantages of the HDP system, but the yield obtained in comparison to the traditional system is very high. So, one can adopt this HDP system for maximization of the yield. Dear viewers, today we have discussed about establishment of orchard, selection of site and systems of planting. As you all know that establishment of an orchard is a long-term investment and requires a meticulous planning about what to be planted, where to be planted, how to be planted and when to be planted. While establishing an orchard, a pre-planning about the pathways, the system of irrigation, the fencing and the windbreaks is very essential. Further, we also discussed about the selection of site which requires the climate of that area in which we are planning an orchard, the availability of labor, the most important things the soil and water, and both the things should be thoroughly checked in a laboratory before establishing an orchard. The other things are social factors, because we have to place some person for the regular orchard works, so they should feel at home while they are working. The other things are transportation, nearness to market, all these factors which are responsible for the successful orchard management. Further, we also discussed about the various systems of planting, which are square system, rectangular system, quincunx system, hexagonal system. The square system and rectangular system are very easy in layout as compared to the other systems like quincunx system. When a fifth plant is placed in the square, it is called quincunx system, and the fifth plant is called as filler tree. Hexagonal system is the very difficult in layout and requires very special training and when the seventh plant is placed in a hexagonal system, it is called septule. Another thing we learned about system of planting is a triangular system, which is not of much practical importance, and the contour system, terrace system, which are practiced in hilly areas to check the water erosion of the soil. We have also discussed about the high density planting system and saw that the yield of various fruit crops like mango, pineapple, banana, etc. has increased tremendously with the adaptation of this HDP system.